Welcome back to the deep end of the human psyche, where we dismantle the monsters that hide in plain sight. Today, we are unlocking the door to the most private, protected room in your house, the bedroom, only to discover that it has been turned into a cold, clinical observation deck. You know the feeling I'm talking about. That gnawing, visceral sense that something is profoundly off during the most intimate moments of your life. It's not just a lack of chemistry, it's a presence of something dark, something calculating, something that feels less like lovemaking and more like a biological extraction. We are about to expose the 5 deviant sexual habits of the narcissist that turn intimacy into a crime scene of the soul. Imagine lying next to someone who is supposed to be your partner, yet you feel an icy draft coming from their side of the bed. You are vulnerable, open, and seeking connection, but you are met with a performance that feels rehearsed, hollow, and frighteningly detached. The big haunting question that keeps you awake at night is this: why does the person who claims to love you treat your body like a utility, a prop, or a battlefield? We are going to strip away the romantic illusions and look at the raw, unfiltered reality of how a narcissist operates between the sheets. This is not about prudish judgment. This is about identifying predatory behavior that disguises itself as passion. The narcissist views sex not as a merging of souls, but as a transaction of power. To them, the bedroom is a stage, and they are both the lead actor and the director. You are merely the supporting cast, there to validate their performance and reflect their grandeur. The deviance we are discussing today isn't necessarily about specific kinks or preferences, though those can play a role. It is about the intent behind the act. It is about the fundamental disconnect between the physical act and the emotional reality. It is about how they use your body to regulate their own chaotic self-esteem, leaving you feeling used, dirty, and spiritually depleted. You might have brushed off these red flags in the beginning. Maybe you thought they were just intense or passionate. But as time went on, the intensity started to feel like aggression, and the passion started to feel like possession. You started to notice that their eyes didn't look at you, they looked through you, or worse, they were looking at themselves in the reflection of your submission. This is the secret knowledge that survivors carry but rarely speak of, the terrifying realization that you were intimate with a ghost. A hollow shell that mimics human desire but lacks the human capacity for genuine care. We are going to break down these 5 habits with surgical precision. These are not random quirks. They are symptoms of a severe personality structure that is incapable of empathy. From the dead-eyed stare to the post-coital discard, every move they make is calculated to maintain dominance and avoid true vulnerability. The narcissist is terrified of intimacy because intimacy requires equality, and equality is death to the ego. Therefore, they must twist the sexual act into something deviant, something where they are the master and you are the object. This script is designed to be a pattern interrupt for your brain. You have likely been gaslighting yourself, thinking, maybe I'm just too sensitive, or maybe this is how all relationships are. I am here to tell you that your gut instinct was right. The nausea you felt, the desire to dissociate, the overwhelming loneliness right after the act, these were your body's alarm bells ringing at full volume. You were sensing the predator in the room. You were sensing that you were being harvested, not loved. Think about the way they touched you. Was it tender, or was it claiming? Did they ask what you liked, or did they assume they were the expert on your pleasure? The deviant habits of the narcissist revolve around a total lack of reciprocity. They take what they want, how they want it, and when they are done, the show is over. They don't care about your aftercare, they care about their applause. And if you dare to ask for more, for connection, for eye contact, for a slowing down of the pace, you are met with confusion, coldness, or rage. We are diving into the darkest corners of their psychology. We will explore how they use the degradation ritual to lower your self-esteem, how they employ the phantom third party to triangulate you even in bed, and how they weaponize the withholding to starve you into submission. These are the tactics of psychological warfare, brought into the sanctity of your bedroom. It is a violation of trust so deep that it can take years to unravel. But unravel it we will. Brace yourself, because this analysis is going to be heavy. It is going to validate pain that you have buried deep inside. But it is also going to set you free. Once you see the mechanics of their deviance, you can no longer be manipulated by it. You will see them not as powerful lovers, but as pathetic, empty creatures trying to fill a bottomless void with your light. The shame they tried to dump on you belongs to them. And today, we are giving it back. The exposure begins now. Do not look away. We are going to shine a floodlight on the 5 deviant habits that define the narcissistic lover. By the end of this journey, you will understand exactly what happened to you, and more importantly, you will understand that it was never your fault. You were trying to love a person, they were trying to consume a resource. The difference is everything. Let's enter the laboratory. Deviant habit number 1, the disassociated stare. Have you ever looked into their eyes during intimacy and felt a chill run down your spine? It's the shark gaze. They are physically present, but psychologically, they have left the building. This is deviance because it turns a moment of connection into a moment of surveillance. They are watching you to see if their technique is working, monitoring your reactions like a scientist watching a rat in a maze. There is no soul behind the eyes, only a cold, calculating assessment of their own performance. They are not making love to you, they are making love to the reflection of themselves they see in your surrender. Deviant habit number 2, the mechanical performance. To the narcissist, sex is a skill to be mastered, not an emotion to be shared. They often study techniques, watch pornography, or mimic scenes from movies to create a perfect experience. But it feels robotic. It lacks the messy, organic flow of real human passion. You feel like you are being put through a sequence of moves rather than being embraced. This deviance stems from their inability to feel effective empathy. They can copy the actions of a lover, but they cannot replicate the feeling. You are left feeling like a mannequin in a display window, perfectly positioned, but utterly lifeless. Deviant habit number 3, the subtle degradation. This is where the darkness truly bleeds in. The narcissist often introduces elements of humiliation or degradation under the guise of being adventurous or spicing things up. They might push your boundaries just enough to make you uncomfortable, then shame you for being prude if you resist. They might make comments about your body that are thinly veiled insults during the act. The goal is to lower your self-esteem while you are most vulnerable. By making you feel small, dirty, or lucky that they desire you, they secure their position of power. It is a psychological conquest disguised as a kink. Deviant habit number 4, the phantom third party. The narcissist is never alone in the room with you. Their mind is a crowded theater. They frequently fantasize about others, compare you to past lovers, or even triangulate you by mentioning other people right before or after intimacy. This is a deviant habit of mental infidelity. They need the validation of a crowd to feel satisfied. You might feel them drifting away, or notice that they are treating you like a generic body rather than a specific person. They are using you as a screen to project their fantasies onto. You are interchangeable in their mind, a terrifying realization that strikes at the core of your worth. Deviant habit number 5, the postcoital discard. This is perhaps the most painful and deviant habit of all. The moment the physical act is complete, the narcissist switches off. They roll over, check their phone, leave the room, or fall asleep instantly without a word. The transition from intense passion to absolute indifference is jarring and cruel. It is a biological discard. They got their dopamine hit, their supply has been harvested, and now you are essentially trash until they need you again. This leaves you in a state of oxytocin withdrawal, feeling confused, lonely, and desperate for the affection they just withdrew. Let's analyze the psychology behind the disassociated stare further. It is a defense mechanism. If they truly connected with you, they would have to face their own internal shame and emptiness. By staying detached, they protect their fragile ego. They are safe behind the wall of their own eyes. They view you as an object that is functioning correctly. If you cry, scream, or moan, it is just feedback data. This is why you feel so drained afterwards. You are pouring energy into a black hole that refuses to reflect any light back. The subtle degradation is also a form of projective identification. The narcissist carries a deep, subconscious sense of shame and dirtiness. They cannot handle this feeling, so they project it onto you. By treating you like something dirty or less than in bed, they temporarily rid themselves of their own self-loathing. You become the vessel for their toxic waste. You wake up feeling ashamed, and they wake up feeling cleansed. It is a parasitic transfer of emotional garbage, performed through the sacred act of intimacy. Consider the cinematic horror of the mechanical performance. It creates a cognitive dissonance in your brain. Your body is responding to the physical stimulation, but your soul is screaming that something is wrong. This disconnect can cause trauma. You start to mistrust your own senses. He seems so into it, you tell yourself, so why do I feel like crying? The answer is that your intuition is picking up on the absence of humanity. You are detecting the predator's mimicry, the uncanny valley of a loveless lover. The phantom third party reveals their addiction to novelty and validation. One person is never enough to fill the void of a narcissist. They need the idea of endless options. By bringing the energy of others into your bed, even mentally, they maintain a sense of superiority. I could have anyone, they think, but I'm deigning to be with you. This keeps you insecure, competing with ghosts, trying harder to please them, which is exactly where they want you. It is a treadmill of validation that you can never get off. Finally, the post-coital discard confirms the transactional nature of the relationship. In a healthy union, the afterglow is a time of bonding and reassurance. For the narcissist, the transaction is closed. Staying engaged would require work without reward. They have already reached the climax, why would they waste energy holding you? This brutal efficiency is the hallmark of a predator. They are not there to nurture, they are there to feed. And once full, the predator loses interest in the prey until hunger strikes again. The dramatic turning point arrives when you stop accepting the script. It happens on a quiet Tuesday night, or perhaps after a particularly hollow encounter. You lay there in the dark, the silence deafening, and something inside you snaps. You realize that you are not in a relationship, you are in a service industry. You are providing a service, physical gratification, ego stroking, emotional absorption, and receiving nothing but exhaust fumes in return. The realization is cold, sharp, and undeniable. You decide to test the reality. You decide to ask for what is forbidden, true intimacy. You turn to them and say, I feel like you're not really here with me. Or perhaps you refuse to engage in the mechanical performance and ask for slow, eye-to-eye connection. Watch the reaction. It is a cinematic shift from indifference to hostility. The narcissist does not respond with concern, they respond with irritation. You're always so needy, they snap. Why do you have to ruin the moment? The mask of the lover falls off, revealing the snarling face of the controller. You have dared to break the contract of the object. Objects don't speak, objects don't have needs. His is the psychological plot twist. You thought asking for love would bring you closer, but it pushes them miles away. The narcissist recoils from your emotional need as if it were a physical attack. To them, your need is a demand, a tax on their energy. They perceive your desire for connection as an attempt to suffocate or control them. The deviance becomes overt. They might punish you by withholding sex for weeks, sleeping on the couch, or engaging in a smear campaign where they tell friends you are crazy or sex-obsessed. The power dynamic shifts because you are no longer the blind participant. You are now the witness. You see the disassociated stare for what it is, emptiness. You feel the mechanical performance as a lie. The magic trick no longer works because you know how it's done. This terrifies the narcissist. Their entire sense of self-worth in the bedroom relies on your blind adoration. If you are looking at them with critical, seeing eyes, their fantasy collapses. They feel the narcissistic injury burning through their veins. In this phase, the subtle degradation might escalate to overt cruelty. If they can't control you with pleasure, they will control you with pain. They might make brutal comments about your appearance, comparing you unfavorably to others to shatter your confidence. You've let yourself go, they might say, or you're not as exciting as you used to be. These are targeted strikes designed to put you back in your box. They want you broken, insecure, and grateful for crumbs. But the secret knowledge you now possess acts as a shield. You hear the insult, but you see the insecurity behind it. You begin to gray rock in the bedroom. You withdraw your energy. You stop performing. You stop faking the climax to boost their ego. The silence becomes a weapon of truth. The narcissist panics. They might try to hoover you back in with a sudden, intense burst of love-bombing sex, flowers, romance, the works. But it feels different now. It feels desperate. You see the strings of the puppet master. You realize that their passion is just a tool they pull out of the toolbox when they feel their grip slipping. The phantom third party becomes less of a ghost and more of a threat. They might start openly looking at others in front of you or leaving pornographic material open for you to find. This is triangulation weaponized to trigger your jealousy and force you to compete. They want you to fight for the privilege of their deviant affection. But instead of fighting, you feel a wave of disgust. The ick factor sets in. You look at this person who is playing mind games with your body and you feel a profound sense of repulsion. This repulsion is your salvation. It is your body rejecting the parasite. The post-coital discard no longer hurts you, it confirms your diagnosis. You lay there, not lonely, but observant. You are documenting the evidence of their soul death. You realize that the person lying next to you is incapable of the very thing you are starving for. You are trying to buy bread at a hardware store. It's not that they are out of stock, it's that they never sold it in the first place. The dramatic tension peaks when you physically recoil from their touch. The narcissist reaches for you, expecting the usual submission, and you flinch. That flinch is the loudest sound in the world. It signals the end of their reign. It tells them that their touch is no longer a gift, it is a violation. The narcissist's ego cannot handle this rejection. They will either explode in rage or collapse into a victim narrative, claiming you are the cold one, you are the abuser. The projection is absolute. We move into the aftermath. The bedroom, once a confusing fog of desire and pain, is now illuminated by the harsh light of truth. You see the deviant habits not as quirks, but as chains. And you have just found the key. The narcissist knows it too. They know you have seen behind the curtain, and to a narcissist, a witness is the most dangerous thing in the world. The collapse is imminent. When the narcissist realizes their sexual spell is broken, the collapse is ugly. It is a decompensation of the ego. The deviant habits that were once subtle and manipulative now become desperate and grotesque. The mechanical performance glitches. They might become impotent or hyperaggressive, their body betraying the chaos in their mind. Without your validation fueling the machine, the gears grind to a halt. The great lover mask cracks, revealing the insecure, frightened child who uses sex as a pacifier. The social consequences begin to bleed out. The narcissist, sensing they are losing their primary source of supply, starts to hunt frantically. They might spend hours on dating apps, addicted to the newness of strangers who haven't seen their deviance yet. They are running from the truth you represent. In the home, the atmosphere turns toxic. The bedroom becomes a Cold War zone. They sleep in another room or on the couch, using their absence to punish you. But the silence is no longer a punishment, it is a relief. You start to see the internal panic in their eyes. That disassociated stare turns into a paranoid glare. They are wondering how much you know, how much you see. They might accuse you of cheating, a classic confession through projection. Because they view sex as a transaction and a game, they assume you must be playing the same game with someone else. They cannot conceive of a world where you simply want to be treated with dignity. Their accusation reveals their own corrupt worldview. The unraveling ego is a dark spectacle. They might try to force intimacy, demanding it as their right. This is where the danger peaks. The deviant habit of boundary testing pushes into the realm of coercion. They feel entitled to your body because they believe they own you. When you say no, you are not just refusing sex, you are denying their existence. Their rage is disproportionate because it is existential. You are witnessing the extinction burst of a dying dynamic. The tone becomes dark and brutally truthful. You realize you have been sleeping with a predator. The memories of past intimacy, once cherished, now feel tainted. You replay the moments of subtle degradation and realize they were not jokes, they were tests. You realize the post-coital discard was not tiredness, it was contempt. This cognitive reframing is painful but necessary. It is like waking up in a house you thought was a palace, only to realize it was a slaughterhouse all along. The rot becomes undeniable. You see their habits for what they are, a pathology. The way they need to degrade to feel tall. The way they need to detach to feel safe. The way they need to triangulate to feel valuable. It is a sickness of the soul. You stop taking it personally. It wasn't about your body, it was about their brokenness. You were just the screen they projected their movie onto. Any screen would have done. That realization hurts, but it also liberates. The narcissist eventually retreats into a victim mentality. They tell their friends that you became frigid, crazy, or impossible to please. They rewrite history to make themselves the martyr of a sexless marriage. They are preparing the ground for the next victim, spinning a tale of woe to elicit sympathy and secure new supply. They leave the relationship not with remorse, but with a story that protects their ego. They learn nothing. They change nothing. They simply move the circus to a new town. You are left with the residue of their deviance. You might feel touch aversion or struggle with your own body image. The phantom third party might still haunt you, making you compare yourself to invisible rivals. But this is the detox phase. The poison is leaving your system. The nausea you feel is the body expelling the toxic lie that you were not enough. You were enough, you were just too much reality for a person who lives in a fantasy. The harsh truth is that the narcissist never truly saw you naked. They saw a body, a resource, a mirror. They never saw the you that resides inside the skin. They missed the best part. Their deviance blinded them to the beauty of genuine connection. They traded the ocean for a puddle because they were afraid of the depth. And now, they are drowning in that shallow puddle, alone, even if they are lying next to someone new. As this chapter closes, the bedroom door shuts on the narcissist forever. You have evicted the ghost. The sheets are stripped, the windows are open, and the stale air of manipulation is being blown out. The collapse of the relationship is not a tragedy, it is a demolition of a condemned building. It had to fall so that you could build something solid on the ground. We arrive at the final truth, the ground zero of your healing. The deviance of the narcissist was never a reflection of your worthiness as a lover or a human being. It was a manifestation of their own spiritual bankruptcy. They tried to turn your body into a landfill for their shame, but you are not a landfill. You are a temple. The deviant habits, the staring, the discarding, the degrading, were the desperate flailings of a soul that has forgotten how to love. You were seeking communion, they were seeking consumption. Empower yourself with this knowledge. You survived a psychological vampire. You offered warmth to a creature of the cold. The fact that you felt pain, loneliness, and confusion proves that your humanity is intact. You did not become like them. You did not turn off your heart to survive. You kept it open until it was no longer safe, and then you saved yourself. That is not weakness, that is profound strength. You possess the very thing they envy most, a soul that can feel. Reclaiming your sexuality is a cinematic slow burn. It begins with touching your own skin and realizing it belongs to you again. It belongs to no one else. The transaction is cancelled. You are no longer a commodity to be traded or graded. You are finding that intimacy is not a performance, but a safe harbor. You are learning to trust your gut again. If it feels cold, it is cold. If it feels off, it is off. Your body is your most loyal ally, and it will never lie to you again. The secret knowledge is this: the narcissist is trapped in their deviant loop forever. They will repeat these 5 habits with every partner, in every bed, until they die. They are prisoners of their own pathology. They will never know their electric peace of being truly seen and loved for who they are. They are destined to hunt for scraps of validation while starving at the banquet of life. You, however, are free. You have escaped the loop. Provide yourself with closure. You do not need an apology from them to heal. Their behavior was the closure. The disassociated stare was the answer. The post-coital discard was the final period at the end of the sentence. You have all the data you need. Case closed. The judge, the jury, and the executioner reside within you now. And the verdict is, not guilty. You are innocent of their crimes against intimacy. Look forward to a future where intimacy is safe. Imagine a partner who looks into your eyes, not through them. Imagine a partner who asks, "How does this feel?" and actually cares about the answer. Imagine a partner who stays for the afterglow, who holds you not to possess you, but to cherish you. This exists. It is real. And now that you know the dark, you will recognize the light instantly. You have a predator radar that is finely tuned. The cinematic ending sees you standing tall, washed clean of their fingerprints. You are rewriting the script of your life. The genre is no longer psychological horror, it is heroic epic. You are the protagonist who descended into the underworld, faced the demon, and returned with the treasure of self-knowledge. You are not damaged goods, you are forged steel. The fire of their abuse didn't burn you up, it burned off everything that wasn't true. To the survivors watching, you are part of a silent army of warriors who have faced the void in the bedroom. You know the coldness. You know the loneliness. But you also know the truth. Validate yourself today. Say it out loud, "I deserve to be loved, not used." Let that truth vibrate through your bones. Let it displace the lies they planted. The narcissist's power relies on the dark. By exposing these 5 deviant habits, we have turned on the lights. They can only operate in the shadows of your confusion. Now that you see the mechanics, the monster looks small. It looks pathetic. It looks like a glitch in the human program. You are the operating system, and you are deleting the virus. The bedroom is a sanctuary, and you are its guardian. Never again let a ghost haunt your sheets. Never again mistake possession for passion. You have taken back the keys to your own temple. They wanted to own your body because they couldn't afford the price of your soul, and that price is absolute, terrifying, beautiful authenticity.